This program is brought to you by Canton Community Television. Now, from the television studios of Canton High School.
Welcome to the Dog Pounds. I'm your host, Will Santos. Today we have a very special guest with us, a graduate from Rogers Williams University and a current sports presenter at 98.5 Sports Hub. Please welcome Tim McCone. McCone, welcome.
Hey, Will, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
We have a lot of questions to get to today, but the first one is behind the scenes, radio shows, TV shows. What is it like to present a radio show? Is it hard or is it not challenging at all?
Well, if I can do it, I'll tell you right now, anybody can do it. But yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into whether it's TV or whether it's radio. And a lot of that is prep, doing a lot of reading a lot of articles, kind of staying up on the current events, what people are talking about, and then kind of formulating what you want to talk about throughout the day, whether that's, again, radio or TV, and kind of presenting a compelling story for your viewer or your listener.
Now, your media career began in 2013 when you were hired by 98.5 The Sports in Boston after you made the Final Four for a hiring contest hosted by the station. What was it like to make it that far into that type of competition, and was it hard to make it that far?
Yeah, so I'll tell you what, my media career actually, believe it or not, started before that. My first job out of college was at a small radio station in Worcester called WTAG. And in Worcester, I was doing intermission reports and post-game shows for the Worcester Sharks, which was the AHL team in Worcester at the time, and then also doing halftime and post-game for Holy Cross football. And so I did that for a few years along with the morning show there. And then eventually, like you mentioned, got into that contest and got lucky enough to get to the Final Four there at 98.5 and eventually transitioned there. So, there was a lot that went into it leading up to that point and kind of being ready to jump into what obviously, Will, is a crazy sports market in Boston and being able to do that. So I got super lucky to get latched on with 98.5, but certainly, there were a couple of steps leading up to that too that got me kind of prepared to take that step.
In your 9 years of doing radio and 12 years, but in your 12 years of doing radio and television, which Boston sports team was your favorite to cover? Personally, it's probably the 2018 Red Sox, but what are your thoughts?
You're a Red Sox guy.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, all right. So they're kind of at the bottom of my list, unfortunately, Will. So we disagree with that. I would go Patriots far and away, covering some of those teams and being there for some of the Deflategate stuff and just some of those big time stories that we've seen over the last decade plus with the Patriots. I would put them at the top of my list. And then I'm a huge college basketball guy too. So believe it or not, outside of some of the Boston teams, covering some Big East basketball certainly would be a close second there when it comes to the Patriots as well. And then, the Celtics, the Bruins, and then unfortunately your Red Sox are probably coming in dead last. That doesn't mean I don't like the Red Sox, by the way. I do. I just put them last on my list, Will.
Very, very interesting. Now, you said that your media career started in 2010. When you first got hired there, what was your reaction? How did the hiring process go down?
Yeah. So look, I tell this to anyone that wants to get into broadcasting. If you're going to be a communications major in college, my biggest piece of advice, if you want to break into the industry, is to do as many internships at as many places as you possibly can and build those relationships. And so WTAG was a perfect example of that for me. I interned there going into my junior year of college, built some relationships up there. And then when I graduated, there happened to be a job opening at that radio station. And obviously they knew me, knew my work ethic, and gave me a chance and gave me an opportunity. And quite frankly, it was an opportunity that I wouldn't have gotten if I wasn't an intern at that station. And believe it or not, doing TV at NBC in Providence for 5 years, that's another example of I was an intern there when I was at Roger Williams, knew those guys, had an established relationship. And again, certainly that helped me kind of get my foot in the door there. When I was doing TV for those years as well. So 98.5 is really the outlier in terms of not having a relationship based on an internship. But yeah, the internships opened a ton of doors for me. And so I tell anyone that wants to get into this business, if you want to, it's a lot of reps, no doubt, and it's a lot of hard work, but it's also about relationships and kind of figuring out a way to kind of get your foot in the door. And internships is a great way to do that.
Definitely, definitely. It seems that you grew up in Worcester, Massachusetts, center of Boston. I mean, not Boston, Massachusetts. Growing up, what was your favorite Boston sports moment growing up? And what was your favorite game that you attended?
All right, so favorite game of the last decade plus is probably the Ravens Patriots playoff game when Amendola throws the pass to Amendola there. That's up there. In terms of favorite sports moment growing up, I said the Red Sox were last on my list, but in terms of best moments, 2004, the Red Sox for sure. Them breaking the 86-year curse. Especially coming off of 2003. And Will, I don't even know if you remember 2003 or not, if you're even old enough to know that.
Nope.
Yeah, that's tough, man. That was the first time as a sports fan I ever got my heart ripped out when Aaron Boone hit that home run. So to follow that up with a 2004 World Series that was pretty good living at that point. So yeah, 2004 is definitely at the top of my list.
No matter if the Red Sox are not in the playoffs or not, the Yankees always suck. So we can always agree on that.
There you go. I like that. That's a good take.
What is your advice that you would like to give to upcoming sports presenters and people who are trying to get into the industry, like something like that?
Yeah, look, like I mentioned, internships. So if you have an opportunity, if you live near a station, get involved, reach out, try and do as many internships as you can. A lot of colleges require you to do just one. I would say that if you really want it and you really want to do this, you got to do more than one, right? And the cool thing is too, a lot of those internships, it's not work. Like my NBC 10 internship, I went to the Patriots every Wednesday, got to sit on the Brady press conference and go inside the locker room. Like, to me, that's really cool. And if that's really cool to you, you're going to enjoy this job and you're going to enjoy the internships as well. So don't think of it like it's extra work or it's an extra assignment, because you're doing a lot of really cool things. And there's a lot of really cool opportunities when it comes to internships across, radio and television. My other piece of advice is this is all just reps. The bottom line is everyone that starts out is pretty terrible, right? It's really hard talking for a living. It's really hard filling 15 minutes where you're just kind of talking to yourself on a radio station. Like, talking to yourself for 15 minutes is not a normal thing. And if it is a normal thing for you, you're probably a little crazy, right? So, it takes a lot of getting used to be able to kind of formulate your ideas, where you want to go with things. Same thing with TV. Wearing makeup under huge bright lights with huge TV screens around you is not a normal situation, right? So it's a little awkward, it's a little uncomfortable. And when you first start out doing that stuff, you're going to feel a little awkward, you're going to feel a little uncomfortable, and it's just reps. So if you really want to do it, whether it's starting a podcast or doing something like you're doing right now, where it's a combination of both, just kind of do that stuff as much as you possibly can. And if you do it for a couple of months, I'm telling you, just a couple of months, you'll see just the leaps and bounds that you grow by. So I would say just reps, continuing to do it, continuing to work at it, and internships are the two biggest pieces of advice that I could give.
I completely agree. Now, on the optimism scale, where would the Patriots rank 1 through 10? Seems like that we're running out of time. My last question for you is, what was your inspiration? Sports Talk Media. What was your inspiration?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I always watched SportsCenter growing up. I loved it. And so I always thought that was a pretty cool job. And then I remember landscaping one summer in high school. And I realized listening to sports talk radio while landscaping, that's a really cool job. I would love to do it. And so went in with a communications major in college. And then ever since then, I've just kind of been hooked on it. So I got super lucky, like you mentioned, in terms of getting to 98.5. But yeah, it was landscaping and hearing some sports talk radio that kind of the light bulb went off and said, that'd be a lot more fun than mowing lawns for a living.
Thank you for your time today. I'll make sure to tell my family that they should watch Tim McCone. Thank you for your time.
Now it's time for
Word
of the Week.
Doubles back.
Annihilated is to destroy something or someone completely, or to defeat someone completely.
This program is brought to you by Canton Community Television, now from the television studios of Canton High School.
Welcome to the Dog Pound. I'm your host, Teddy Schumer. Today, I am with Captain and four-year CHS hockey varsity player Leo Owens. Welcome to the Dog Pound, Leo.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Teddy. It's an honor to be here.
It's great to have you. Now, let's jump right into it. Leo, can you tell us how you got into the game of hockey?
You know, at a young age, I remember just going to my brother's games when I was an infant, and you know, my brother playing college hockey, playing high school hockey for a while. You know, like just my dad big into hockey, so it just kind of was like set up for me to play hockey.
Yeah.
And then you know, I remember going to the Southie rink back in the day when I was young, pushing around the crates. And you know, ever since then, I kind of just fell in love with it.
Yeah. Where did your brother play college?
Played for Wentworth. They played at the Northeastern rink, which was a pretty cool experience for me, you know, to go to the games there and experience a big rink, even though, you know, they're a D3 school, but
Yeah.
it's still a pretty cool experience. And he played high school for Catholic Memorial.
All right. Question 2. Describe the time or moment where you fell in love with the game.
You know, like I just said, like going to my brother's games, I remember just being a little kid, like they would run out of the tunnel, I'd be there giving them fist bumps and whatnot. And it was a pretty cool experience to see like all those big guys and stuff. And then as soon as I could get on skates, I just loved it. I remember I was playing youth hockey for Parkway, and I played for a little bit for South, played a little bit goalie, played a little play, all that good stuff, you know. And I just no really in particular time, but just I feel like all this stuff, good memories when I was young, really built up.
Yeah. Yeah. You said you lived in Parkway?
No, I lived in West Roxbury.
Oh. So when did you move to Canton?
I think it was in third grade, end of third grade. I was playing Terriers that year, and so they were in Canton. So and I knew a buddy on the team, and they were telling me about, you know, the school system was pretty good here because back in the city I was going to private school and stuff, and if I moved to Canton I could switch to public school. So I moved out here at the end of third grade. I was playing Terriers in Canton, you know.
Yep.
And just loved the town, you know. And then the next following year, I started playing Canton youth hockey, and you know, ever since then, I just built a great bond with a great group of guys.
Yep. Speaking of youth hockey, what was your favorite youth hockey experience?
Favorite youth hockey experience was definitely, I think it was my second year Pee Wee. We were up, we won states in an upset versus Duxbury, and then we went up to regionals, and you know, we weren't too sure how we were gonna do, but then no other Canton team has previously won regionals, and we won it that year. And then I remember the younger kids, I think it was your team won it a few later on, but that was a pretty cool experience, you know, going up there, being some good club teams and stuff, and winning regionals for the first ever Canton team to do it. It's pretty cool.
Very successful teams. Now jumping on to your high school career. On your first day of tryouts, how were you feeling? Tell us how you were feeling.
Yeah, I was definitely a little bit nervous. It was definitely something I've never been used to. Like, you used to, you know, when you're younger, you're either playing with your own age group or one age group above. You're going in here, you're in 05. I'm born in 2005, and I'm playing with, you know, like 2001s and 2000s, so it's definitely a big age group. You know, you're a little 14-year-old boy playing against men, you know, so it was funny. I was nervous, but I think once I got out there, I calmed down a little bit. The nerves would come and go, but for the most part, I was, you know, calm as I could be.
Yeah, helps a lot playing up. Tell us your emotions when Coach broke the news that you were on the final varsity roster.
Oh, it was awesome. So we had it was tryouts were a week, and then we had the Latin scrimmage on the weekend. So there's like 7 days, and then the next Wednesday, we had Hingham scrimmage, and we had about 2 practices in between Latin and Hingham. And we still, you know, there have been a few guys, you know, they said they made JV, but we have a group of about 6 or 7 of us that we still like don't know what's going on. So we're getting pretty nervous, you know, it's kind of dragging on. And after the Hingham scrimmage, it's like the season like starts that Saturday. So we're like, after the Hingham scrimmage on that Wednesday, we're like, we got to know now after this, right? And then he calls, you know, we get off the bus, we have a nice big win versus Hingham, and Hingham is a very good team too. So he calls us all into the locker room, and he broke the news. He was like, I forget exactly what he said, but he basically told us we were all on varsity, and it was such a good feeling because, you know, you're battling with these kids to make the team every day, and you know how hard each other are working, and it was just so good feeling to all of us to make the team.
Yeah. long week of tryouts, finally learned that it's all over and you made the team.
With all the other players too.
Yeah. Canton team's been very successful in the past 4 years. 82-4. That's pretty impressive. Describe how that winning mentality and spirit is spread throughout the team in the locker room.
Yeah, you know, the Canton hockey culture is just something else. Like the preparation we put in before games, and like with going through film, like Coach Schumann, Coach Conley, and all of them, we know going into every game what we're gonna be facing. Like we know who's their best top players to watch, what their breakout is, like all that good stuff. So you know, we just prepare like I've never seen a high school team or heard of any other high school team preparing like we do. Our practices are just such high intense, and it's just a battle every day going to the rink, and it just gets us ready for every game day. And the Canton hockey culture is just nothing like it. It's
Yeah. Very few teams do that. In your first year on the team, you played with some of the most successful players to ever come through the program. Tell us what it was like playing with guys like Johnny Hagan and Chris Lavoie.
Yeah, Johnny and Chris, they were definitely great leaders that year. You know, at first you're very intimidated of them, but once you get to know them, they're fun guys to be around, and they always push you to your best. They don't care. You know, I was a little freshman. I was going up against them. They would treat me like they would treat anyone else. So it was great getting me ready, you know, for games, and even just like building me as a character, building my character on and off the ice. But they were definitely great guys to be around and have in the locker room and stuff, and it's cool.
Definitely gonna make you better going up against them every day at practice.
And their leadership rubs off on you. You know, you see how they are when you're a freshman. You want to be like them when you're a senior someday. So it's pretty cool.
Now your freshman year, they were coming off a 26-0 season. How did you guys keep that mentality and not let the records get to you during that year?
I think one of the main things we focused on was you know, every game's you don't worry about the record. You don't look at the other team's record. You don't look at your own record. It's just you go game by game at a time. And I think a big thing is when we lost to Lincoln Sudbury was like we were just like, all right, it's a loss. Like, let's just move on. Like, you can only focus on the next games. Like, yeah, you know, like being undefeated and then losing was tough, but we didn't look at much at the undefeated part. We were just more like just focus on the next game, on the next game, do what you can do, and you know, there's only so much you can be in control of, but being ready and being prepared for the next game is always the big thing.
Lincoln Sudbury gave you guys the first loss, and you guys were looking for revenge. You're looking for revenge at the Garden.
Yep.
And then it was canceled. Explain what the team was feeling when the news got out that the Garden was canceled in that 2020 season.
Yeah, it was terrible. I remember that day pretty well, too. So we actually just had a practice. We had a terrible practice, too, I remember. It was, I don't know what we did, but nothing was clicking. We were just sloppy. And, you know, so we're supposed to have workouts, like, right after practice back at the high school. We're all leaving the rink at about the same time because we were hustling out of there to go to workouts. And we see Coach Erickson walk in, and he's in a suit or something. I remember he was wearing a suit, and we all get a little bit of a pit in our stomachs from that because you know you don't really see Erickson walk into a rink after a practice. So we go into the high school. We're all like, all right, we all have a little bit of a pit in our stomach, but you know, we're just like, all right, let's go to workouts. Let's see what happens, and then. I forget, someone texted in the group chat, meet in Coach Hughes' room. So we all had to meet in Coach Hughes' room. And that's like, right when they sent that text, I remember the feeling like, wow, this has happened. Like, we're not gonna play. And then in Coach Hughes' room, everyone broke the news to us, and it was just devastating. I remember. I felt so bad for the seniors and stuff.
Tough. Yeah, especially your senior year. Well, last year you guys got to go back. You just fell short, though. Tewksbury was a very good team. Tell us what it was like playing the Garden in front of the whole town of Canton.
You know, I know even though we lost, it's probably the coolest experience, like, in my life. You know, you remember going to games there as a kid to watch, like, the Bruins, whether it's BU at the Beanpaw. And I just remember walking out for that first time out of that tunnel and just seeing all the bright lights on me, seeing the crowd erupt. It was awesome. It was second to none experience. And I'll remember it forever, even though we lost. But it was so cool, and hopefully we can experience again this year.
Yep. Hopefully come out on top. Looking back on your past 3 years, tell us what your favorite game was and why.
My favorite game. There's been a lot of good games. I think the Braintree one my freshman year was pretty cool. You know, Braintree was a good team that year, and they pretty much sold out the Zaptusas Arena.
Yeah.
And it was 2-0 going to the third. We were having a terrible game. Coach comes in, in the locker room and, gets us fired up for the third. And we go out there. I remember Tommy Vaughn just rips a missile by the goalie, and it was just an awesome experience. And then Vinny Sika ties it up. And
Yeah.
I know we
Remember that
tied,
game.
but it was a pretty cool experience.
Yep. Game was awesome. All right. Thanks for coming out, Leo. It's been a pleasure having you here on the Dog Pound. I hope you can recover. I see your injury. Hope you can recover and come back on the ice this year. Good luck this upcoming season. From Kent Community Television, I'm Teddy Schumann, signing off from the Dog Pound.
Thank you.
Robert Diggins, Nick Grove, Samuel Duty, Jasmine Finland, Ryan Hart, Isabel Fritos, Nolan Harney, Grady, Deanna Kolakithis, Catherine Budway, McKenna Morris, Wyatt Proctor, Michael Sayers, Declan Monahan, Charles Zack, and most importantly, Leo Owens. Thank you for a great show.
Theater brings us together. Support Canton High School Drama Club.
Welcome to the Dog Pound. I'm your host, McKenna Morris. Today we have with us Canton lacrosse player Sarah Yaton. Welcome to the Dog Pound, Sarah.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you with us today. Why don't we get started? Describe how you got into the sport of lacrosse and the process of your growth.
I got into the sport because my older sister Ella plays and she has so much fun playing this sport, so I wanted to try it.
Why do you love and feel a passion for lacrosse?
I love this sport because of just the people playing and just the environment.
Nice. Tell us about the equipment you use and what the purpose of it is.
The equipment I use is a stick and a mouth guard and goggles. Goggles so I don't get hit in the face with the ball, mouth guard so I don't get hit in the mouth with the ball, and a stick to play.
Tell us what position do you play and explain what makes you love that position.
I play midfield, so I do the draw, the face-off, whatever you call it, and then I run up and down the field.
What are some of the pros and cons with playing with so many different girls?
Some cons was last year we had a lot of drama on the team and kind of affected the way we played, and there was just a lot of arguing.
What were some of the pros?
The pros, my coach was a very good coach. He was fun at practice, and I don't know, everyone on the team was just fun to be with.
Nice. What is a weakness you have with lacrosse, and why does that affect your playing time?
A weakness I have was I wasn't hydrating the day before, so
yeah, hydrate.
I was very tired.
Describe what does a typical practice look like. Tell us what are some of the most common drills.
Typical practice would be stretching first and then conditioning, and then we would do defense drills.
What kind of drills would you do for defense?
We would have, I don't even know.
Describe what are some gamely struggles you have.
Like I said, not hydrating before, and then sometimes not communicating with everyone on the field, so that was hard.
What's like a key with communicating? Like, why is that so important?
Just to know that you're all in the same place and to help move the ball around the field.
Do you ever want to give up? Why or why not?
No, I don't. I mean, I've had a lot of goals that didn't count, and I wanted to get a goal that did count, so I didn't really give up.
Yeah, luckily Hiltz was pretty good on keeping us positive most of the time. Do you plan on playing in college? Why or why not?
No, I don't plan on playing in college, but my sister is going to play in college. But,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where's she going?
Framingham State.
Oh, nice. Is she committed?
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. If you could go back in time and go to when you first started playing lacrosse, what would you change?
Well, I just started playing last year, so I think I'd change the fact that I started playing so late. I wish I played in youth.
Are you proud of the way you played previous year? Why or why not?
Yes, I am, because our team did good, and then I did good, and I worked hard.
Thank you for taking the time to come speak with us today. It's been a pleasure having you here on the Dog Pound. We can't wait to see you back on the field in the spring. From Canton Community Television, I'm your host, McKenna, signing off from the Dog Pound.
When you take a look at your phone for only 5 seconds, you've traveled a lot longer than you think. Think twice about texting and driving.
You're watching the Student Station on Canton Community Television.